In this video, you're going to learn how to set up the user ID agent on your Palo Alto file to request user information from your Active Directory infrastructure. With the user ID, you'll be able to create security rules based on Active Directory groups instead of source networks. Let's go! So the user ID agent from Palo Alto is a piece of software that runs on Windows. It connects to your Active Directory or Exchange servers and monitors the logs for login events. This agent uses this information to map IP addresses to usernames. The Palo Alto file connects to the user ID agents to retrieve this user mapping information. So this is my panorama, and we're going to start by generating the certificates for the communication between the file and the user ID agent. You can use the certificates from your PKI if you have one, but I'll just generate the certificates directly on the file. So for that, we're going to go to Device. Under Certificates, I click on Generate. Generate name, I'm going to call it User ID root CA. Common name can be whatever you want. This is a self-signed certificate. It's going to be a certificate authority, and I'm just going to click on Generate. There it is. Sorry, not this one, this one. And now I'm going to generate another certificate. This one I'm going to call User ID 1. Sorry, I'm going to just call User ID 1. This is the name of the server that I'm going to install it on. So User ID 1 adnetsums.com. Pay attention to this common name. It has to be the same name as the server. If you're using FQDNs, I'm going to choose my user ID root CA, and I'm going to click on Add and say host name. I already copied my common name up here. I'm just going to paste this, and I'm going to also enter my IP address, even though I don't need. You can do the same if you want. 10.0.2.11. This is the IP address of this server, and I'm going to click on Generate. So I have my file. My file is going to be communicating with the Windows server, and this Windows server that's only going to be providing this user ID agent functionality is going to be communicating with the domain controller. It would be possible technically to install the user ID agent directly on the Windows domain controller, but in this case here we're going to have a special Windows server where we're going to install the user ID agent. Okay, so now this certificate we can export. Click on Export Certificate. We need the private key. Leave it with this extension PEM. That's the extension you need. Click on OK. So it's going to start my download. And we're going to go to Serve Certificate Profile, and we're going to create a new certificate profile. I'll click on Add. Cert Profile User ID. And we are going to add here the new root CA we created. Okay, it's in shared. Need to change this. This would be this one, User ID root CA. Click on OK. Click on OK. And this new certificate profile we're going to be using up here under User Identification. Under Connection Security, we're going to tell the user ID agents and also the terminal server agents that the communication should be using certificates signed by this root CA that we had just created. So I'm going to choose this one, click on OK, and I go back now to certificates. So this means that every time that I need a new user ID agent, I'm going to create one and sign this new certificate using this root CA. Okay? And every time the communication to the user ID agent or terminal server agent is supposed to happen, the file is going to verify if the certificate that the user ID agent is showing the file has been signed by this certificate under this certificate profile. Okay, now we can go to data redistribution. And here I'm going to create a new agent. I'm going to click on add. The name is going to be just DC2. You're going to choose, sorry, not DC2, user ID 1. And here under host, I'm going to click host and port. My host is going to be user ID 1 adnetsums.com. This is the name of the server. This is how my server is called. And under port, I'm going to enter the 5007. This is the default port. And here, we're going to choose the data type. It's going to be IP user mappings. The rest you don't need to fill out. Just click on OK. Under setup, I just want to be sure that my communication is going to go out through the correct interface. So if I go to service route configuration, I already have here set up, but you need to be sure your user ID agent, you can click on it. You need to select, if you don't want this to be sent through the management interface, which would be the default, you need to choose the correct interface here under service route source for the user ID agent. In my case, I already selected my correct interface. I'm just going to click OK and OK. And now we're going to take a look at the file rules that we need for that. So we go to policies. I already have, where's the rule? This rule configured. Allow lab Active Directory. Here we have as a source the network 10020. In this network is my user ID server running my user ID agent. It has IP address 10.02.11. And on the destination, I have my domain controller, which has the IP address 10.01. I think it's 17 or 11, but it's in this network. And as an application, I'm going to do also again for you to see. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to add, first of all, Active Directory. When you click on Active Directory and click somewhere else, it shows some other applications on the right side. You should add all of them. So click on this checkbox and click on Add to Current Rule. We need also MSRPC. I'm going to also add NTP, SSL, web browsing to check if my certificates are valid or not, LDAP, and the last one, SMB v3. Oh. So these are the applications that I would need. Okay. So service application default, I don't need anything that. And actions, just go cancel because I already had this rule in place. And now we're going to add a new rule. Let's go to add. This is the rule that's going to allow the communication from the file to the server called userid.ad.netsums.com. This is the server that's going to have the user ID agent. So I'm going to call it allow PAVM user ID. The source is going to be my lab 2. The IP address 10.0.2.1. I don't have an object for that. I'll just leave the IP address for this example. Destination is also lab 2. And here I have the 10.0.2.11. Application is going to be the application is called Palo Alto User ID Agent. and SSL should be enough. Service action application default, action allow, just click OK. And here's the rule, allow PAVM user ID, and the Palo Alto user ID agent uses as default port 5007. Now we can commit the configuration. And now we can go to our domain controller. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It does help the channel a lot. Thank you. Now back to the video. Okay, this is my domain controller, and I already have a dedicated SA user, service account user, in the domain. I'm going to show you. If I go to Tools, Active Directory, User and Computers, I already have, under Users in my case, a user called Service Account. If I double click on the service account and I go to Account, you can see that this user has the logon name SA-Palo Alto. And this user is a member of domain users, which is standard, and you need, in your case, to add event log readers. So you need to come here and say add event. You can press enter. It should show you the built-in function, built-in group event log readers. Click on apply, click on OK, and that's it that we need from the domain controller. So this is my user ID 1 server. This is a server dedicated only for the user ID functionality for the firewall. So the first thing we need to do is to copy the certificate to the server. I already did. If we come to C temp, I can see already the certificate there. This is a certificate that we generated on Panorama, and I exported it, and now I have uploaded to the server. You don't need to install the certificate, just leave there, we're going to use it later. Now what we're going to do is to go to the search bar and type in Windows Administrative Tools. We need to allow this SA Palo Alto to be able to log on as services. I'm going to show you. If you go here to local security policies, and here you go to local policies, user rights assignments, and you scroll down, you're going to find log on as a service. So you need to double click on it, click on add user or group, and here I'm going to type this SA Palo Alto, check names. I need to log into my domain because my Windows user now is a local one. There you go. And then you found my user. I'm going to click on OK. It means that my user now has the right to log on as a service. Click on apply. If you want, click on OK. Now I'm going to create a folder where I'm going to be installing my user ID agent. So under program files, x86, I'm going to create a folder called Palo Alto Networks. It's already one. Okay, let me erase because usually you don't have. Create again. Palo Alto Networks. And here we're gonna say go to properties. Under security, we need to add the permission for the user SA Palo Alto. Click on edit. Click on add SA Palo Alto. This user has to be able to modify this folder. So check names. Click on OK. With the user selected, you can click on modify, or if you want, you can click on give it full control. I'm just going to give full control for this folder. Apply if you want. OK. And where's my user? There it is. It has full control. OK. Now we are ready to install our user ID agent. And I'm going to download this from https support.paloaltonetworks.com. So here I'm going to click on sign in. So after you sign in, you have on the left side updates. Click on updates, software updates, and here under content type, we're going to be searching for this one, user identification agent. I'll download the latest one now. I don't want the CRED install, I just want the install. The latest one is the 1100. Click on it. There you go. It has been downloaded, but before we start the installation, we should run it as an administrator. So we're gonna go to CMD, press the right button, and go to Run as Administrator. Now we're gonna need to find the file, cd users administrator downloads. Yeah. UA install, this is the one. So starting the installation, click on next. Here I'm gonna go to browse and see if it really got the correct, yeah, this is the one, Palo Alto Networks. So we created a user ID agent folder inside my Palo Alto Networks. This is correct. So I'm just gonna click OK. So I just wanted to be sure now that it found the correct folder that we created before. Otherwise, if it was creating a new folder, our SA user wouldn't have the correct permissions for this folder, user ID agent. Click on next, and click on close. Just to be sure, I'm going to open this again, refresh this. Okay, this is the correct folder, and there's the user ID agent. This we can close. Now this also we can close. The next thing is to edit the registry. So registry edit, registry editor, and under HKey local machine, under software, if you're using Windows 64-bit, you should find this folder here, WOW64 I don't know what. If you open this, you're gonna find a Palo Alto Networks. If you have 32-bit, Palo Alto Networks should be here directly under software. Do a right click, go to permissions. Here you need to add this SA user again, SA Palo Alto, check names, again, click on OK. And with this new user selected, you have to click on full control. Apply and OK. Good. Now we can open the user ID agent. It's shown here the new one, but if it's not the new one, it's under Palo Alto Networks. And we can click on the user ID agent. So it says agent is running. We can stop this agent. Click on OK. Go to setup. Here there's an edit. We're going to change the username for Active Directory. This is the SA Palo Alto at adnetsums.com. My password. Under server monitor we leave like this. Under client probing, earlier versions it was as default enabled. I think it started with the 11. It's not enabled anymore. It's good. You should not enable this. Under cache, actually here we don't need to change anything. Here's the port that we configure on the firewall, 5007. This is the standard port for the user ID service. eDirectory, syslog, you can configure something with syslog here, but like this, it should be enough for the file to be able to connect, for this user ID agent to be able to connect to Windows. If we go to Discovery, we can click on Auto Discover. Takes a little while, and then it usually finds the Windows servers. Maybe I should have clicked on Save and Commit before. There you go. Otherwise, you can come here and click on Add and add your server. And here you have the option to choose Active Directory or Exchange Server or Novell if you still have in your own network. Just go to cancel. You already found my domain controller with the correct IP address. Actually, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna go to edit. And I don't want it to find through the IP address. I want to use my FQDN. I click on OK. This is fine like this. So I click on commit. Commit saves already automatically. If we did it correctly under monitoring, soon you're gonna see some users being shown here. But for the okay. I need to start the service. It's already running. I already says it's connected. There you go. Under monitoring already, you can see the users. So it means that the user ID agent already has communicated with the domain controller and could extract the information regarding the user to its current IP addresses. Okay. The last thing here now would be to add the server certificate so that sorry, it's not the last thing. We need two things still. Under setup, you should add an access control list to control who's connecting to this user ID agent. I'm gonna click on add and I'm gonna enter my firewall, PAVM. This is my lab interface, the one that we configured using the service route on the firewall. The user ID agent gives a range for us to enter the information. If you only have one IP address, you just enter like this, is fine. So you click on OK. So it's only gonna allow this firewall here to connect. Click on commit again, and let's go configure the certificate. Click on add. I'm gonna browse my certificate. It's under temp. There it is. This is a certificate that we exported from Panorama. Click on open. Enter the password. Click on OK. It was able to see the certificate, so it means that this is the important part. Under subject alternative name, it has the name of the server, user ID 1ad.netsums.com, and it also has the IP address. So I click on commit, and if we did everything correct, we should there you go. Under user identification, you see that the file doesn't take long to the file to connect. So under monitoring, we see these two. I actually wanted to show you something else. And here now, if you go to services and look for user ID agent, there, you see the service is running. If you double click on it, go to log on, you're gonna see that the account SA Palo Alto is being used as a logon. So the service is being run through this account. So that's why we need for this account to add some extra permissions in order for this service to be able to run. You should check in your configuration also if this user has been added to the service, but I don't think you're gonna see something else here if you did the right configuration. Let's go take a look at the firewall now. So now at the file, not Panorama, I'm at the file directly. If I go to device and click on data redistribution, way down on the right side, you have the column called connected, and you can see that there is a yes. So I'm connected to the user ID agent. If I go to monitor, there is a menu called user ID. There I can see that I have user provided by source. I have this SA Palo Alto, and I have my NetSums administrator. And here on the second column called IP, we can see the IP addresses from these users. This stuff here on the bottom was just earlier a test that I did, but these three actually are the new ones. So it's getting the information. Now we're gonna generate some traffic coming from this SA Palo Alto, and after that we're gonna come on the traffic logs and see the user being matched. Actually, we don't need to. I just see here that NetSums Palo Alto is already trying to reach the DNS from Google, my internal DNS server. Yeah, it's working. And if in your environment you still don't see your user ID being shown under the monitor, you need to come to Network, Zones, and then you click on your source zone. In my case, it's Lab 2. And you need to be sure that your user identification is enabled for this zone. So I'm connected to SSH to the firewall, and I'm going to enter some CLI commands that can help us also to troubleshoot or to check if the user ID replication is working correctly. So the first one would be show user sorry, not this one, show user IP user mapping. I think now it's all. So you can see all the users. It's the same, it's similar to what we see on the monitor from the firewall. We have also show user ID agent statistics. Show user ID agent state. All. And you see a bunch of information regarding the user ID agent. And if you want to troubleshoot information regarding user ID agent, you can type tail follow yes mp user IDD, and you can see some error messages in case you're having some problem connecting to it. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video until the end. I hope you got some value from the video. Don't go yet. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and take a look at this video here. Maybe I can help you also there with the Palo Alto configuration, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.